Imagine waking up tomorrow to find your heating system completely broken and no way to stay warm. No thermostat, no warm blankets, no hot chocolate, and no delivery services to bring comfort to your home. You are left alone to face the freezing cold, with the real possibility that you might not survive until spring.
This wasn't just a temporary inconvenience for our ancestors. It was their reality for 10,000 years.
This was the daily struggle for our ancient ancestors, who lived through harsh conditions long before modern technology. They relied on fire as a central survival tool, providing warmth, light, and a way to cook their food.
Fire was more than just heat. It was a survival system that performed many crucial tasks simultaneously.
Fire hardened their wooden tools and spears, making them more effective for hunting and protection against predators. The fire provided light during long winter nights, enabling social gathering, storytelling, and the transfer of vital knowledge.
It also dried their wet clothing, which was essential to prevent hypothermia and maintain health in frozen conditions. The knowledge of fire maintenance and starting was among the most valuable skills an ancient human could possess.
Losing their fire in a blizzard without a way to restart it was potentially a death sentence for the group. Firekeepers, whose specific role was maintaining the communal flame, were among the most important members of early human groups.
Cooking food made calories more bioavailable, allowing them to extract more energy from the same amount of food.
Cooked food is significantly easier to digest and provides considerably more energy than raw food equivalents.
Biologists argue that cooking was literally what allowed the human brain to grow as large as it did over time. Think about that next time you use your oven. It's a legacy of our ancestors' survival through fire. Fire also kept predators away during the long, dangerous nights, acting as a reliable bodyguard for the group. Predators genuinely do not like fire, so they back off, allowing the humans to sleep and survive until morning. When caves weren't available, they built sophisticated shelters using the bones of mammoths and animal hides.
Archaeologists have discovered circular structures built almost entirely from mammoth bones, dating back 15,000 years. These structures were constructed from hundreds of individual mammoth bones, carefully interlocked and stacked to form walls. The frames were covered with animal hides stretched tightly, creating a windproof and reasonably waterproof living space. This was interior design for survival, showing that these were genuine homes, not just emergency shelters. Inside these structures, there were designated areas for sleeping, tool-making, and food preparation, showing organization.
This was a deliberate, planned use of space, designed to maximize heat distribution and efficiency for survival.
Modern culture often obsesses over the lone hero, but ancient humans relied on community for survival.
They were doing the exact opposite of the lone hero, and it was absolutely intentional for their survival.
Hunter-gatherer bands typically ranged from 20 to 50 individuals, with broader networks connecting them to hundreds. These weren't just social arrangements. They were carefully maintained survival infrastructure that everyone knew and valued.
Stories told around the fire were education, passing on accumulated survival knowledge to the next generation. The elder who knew every plant in the area was a library, an irreplaceable source of knowledge for the group. Modern humans are biologically similar to prehistoric humans, but we have lost many of their survival skills.
In sub-zero temperatures without insulation, an unclad human loses body heat faster than they can generate it.
When exposed to extreme cold, the body shivers uncontrollably as it tries to warm itself.
Bone needles recovered from sites are so fine and precisely crafted that they are difficult to replicate today. These were precision instruments requiring both exceptional craftsmanship to make and exceptional skill to use effectively. The Sungir burial site in Russia provides the most vivid evidence we have of ancient Ice Age clothing.
The children were buried with thousands of individually carved ivory beads that had been sewn into their garments. The reconstruction suggests a layered system, an inner layer for moisture management, an insulating layer, and a tough outer layer.
This is almost exactly the layered clothing system recommended by modern outdoor survival and mountaineering guides.
The hides themselves were processed through a labor-intensive method called brain tanning to soften and preserve them.
Every large animal hunted provided not just food, but raw material for clothing, footwear, blankets, and tools.
Staying warm in cold conditions burns an enormous number of calories, increasing metabolic demands significantly.
Your basal metabolic rate in extreme cold can increase by 50% as your body tries to maintain core temperature. If you are physically active, the caloric demands become staggering, making food a critical survival resource. Fat was the supreme currency of Ice Age nutrition, providing more than twice the energy per gram of protein or carbohydrates.
A mature mammoth could weigh 6 tons, with a significant proportion being fat, which was critical to human survival.
Hunting a mammoth was not simple. It involved driving animals into boggy ground, where they became stuck. They used fire and noise to direct panicked animals toward prepared kill sites, showing high levels of coordination.
They used the fact that the world is a refrigerator, burying meat in permafrost to store it for weeks or months. For meat that couldn't be frozen, drying was the primary preservation method, extending its shelf life significantly. They made a mixture very similar to pemmican, which was calorie-dense, nutritionally complete, and lasted months without spoiling. The autumn months were a time of frantic, organized, large-scale food preparation to survive until spring.
Some groups followed seasonal migration routes, moving between known locations based on the availability of resources.
River valleys provided natural protection from the worst winds, making them ideal locations for winter camps.
They had mental maps of landscapes, knowing the routes, seasonal patterns, and what they needed to carry. Cave paintings were not just art. They were sophisticated visual databases of animals and environmental knowledge. Evidence for ritual, shared ceremony, and music suggests deliberate cultivation of group cohesion and psychological resilience. A group that maintains morale through the darkest months survives, while a group that fragments does not. They were actively managing the landscape through controlled burning, selective hunting, and cultural practices. The human relationship with winter was not passive endurance. It was active, intelligent, collective problem-solving.
We traded all of that for central heating, supermarkets, and the ability to order soup from our phones. Which is, on balance, a tremendous trade, even if we've forgotten the struggle it took to get here. It's a reminder of how far we've come and the incredible ingenuity of our ancestors. We owe our comfort today to their survival, and that is a story worth remembering.